to you today from the Southern Legend Outdoor Studio, the Be a Legend podcast, brought to you from SouthernLegendOutdoors.com. And now your hosts, Kevin Bearfield, Kerry Nelson, Ken Butler, and Mark Newell. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. It's your time now. Be a legend.
Have you done a soil test?
No, but let me tell you.
Are you going to?
No.
I'm going to.
Time.
Ken, have you done a
Stay
soil
in your
test?
lane. Ain't that what that guy says in the commercial?
You have?
But now wait a
Did you
minute.
learn a lot from it? I
Learned
mean,
you need a lot of lime on it.
do you lime every year?
Tell myself.
No, I did a year and a half ago. You don't have to lime every year.
He's got to
Every other year, you think?
Just depending on
Just depending on the pH level.
depending on the composition of the soil.
Yeah.
The more pines that you have around the place, the more you'll have to lime because the pine stand,
They
a pine
draw.
ecology is going to make.
They're going to
It's
draw
going
that.
to naturally make it more acidic because that's where pine tree grows better in.
I plant my food plots up next to pine
Yeah,
trees.
90 pounds. You're in Mississippi.
Yeah.
A lot of folks. I mean, that's just where they're at.
Yeah, but since you've been there, we planted a lot of pine trees.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know you planted plant. That's good.
Yeah. So that's probably what's happening to me. A little
Okay.
bit there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But leasing,
Well, yeah.
I leased 800 acres.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming in right now. The Amish is cutting hickory out of it.
Really?
Oh yeah. And let me take it back. A company's cutting it and taking it to the Amish to cut it. From Randolph, Mississippi. I had no idea that there was any type of business called "We'll come on your property and cut all your hickory."
Small hickory stuff.
Neatest operation you ever seen.
Really?
If you want to see old time, they do use 4-wheelers and chainsaws.
Yep, they cut them, they bundle them up.
Bundle them up with chains and
Really?
put them on the side of the road. Come back through, pick them up. It's real neat. I've been watching them, but like I'm over here in this pine thicket, and I've got lanes where they've thinned, and that's my, for me to spend a bunch of money on that. If I had property, and I know where Mark's going to tell me, because I've got a gas line that's 1,000 yards, and that would be a perfect place to do a soil sample and all that stuff. I know, like for some hunters, that's way in there, and their food plot ain't even a third of an acre. It's all they can plant because that's just how they can't cut no trees, they can't bring no dozer in. But on y'all's personal property like that, he's gonna tell you right quick, soil sample, and then start get your soil right. Or you just wasting your time throwing seed out there? Because I've heard him tell me that a million times.
He don't listen, but anyway.
But
Kerry said, I need another bag. You didn't do good.
hey, my problem with Tecumani is I don't have no problem with it.
Well, just
It always comes
for our
up.
listeners out there, it's probably a very common.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that not many people probably are out there doing it. I mean, here sits Ken and I both, and we haven't. But let's say somebody wants to do that. What's the process for getting that done?
What's that, a soil test?
Yeah,
It's very simple. Go to your local extension office.
I figured.
There's one here in Pontotoc.
Yeah, every
And
county has one. pretty
Every
much.
county pretty much has one. It's got one close. They're going to give you a little box,
Yeah.
or how many samples you want to take. It's about 5, 6. I don't know what it is now.
7.
$7. Oh, inflation. We've gone up. $7 a sample.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, I got you.
And again, like you said, most of your average hunters ain't got but a couple food plots anyway. So go and take a sample. It's got
sample from
all the information that's there. There's no sense in me going through the whole process. But go to the extension. That's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Get that box. There's a little sheet that you'll fill it out. Get your sample. Take it back to the extension. Give it to them, and within 2 weeks they'll mail you or email you a copy of your results. They're very simple. It's going to tell you how much lime to put out, and then what's your fertilizer percentage and how much that you need to put out of NPK.
Cool.
Yep. So
I'm gonna do that.
and then if you don't understand that, take it to say, for an example, most anybody at the co-op or feed store or wherever you're at, and that sells a lot of fertilizer. Say, hey, look, this is kind of what we need to do, and they'll tell you exactly how much you need.
Now,
It's
would
really
you
simple.
get a sample maybe periodically, every 3 or 4 or 5 years? to
Do it
check
every
and
other
keep-
year.
Every other year.
To monitor what's going on.
That makes sense. You going to?
I guess so.
Makes a difference. It makes all the difference in the world.
When you say make a difference, I don't have soil samples. My food plots really grow good. Just because they look good, grow good, don't mean anything. What
Don't.
you're talking about,
Absolutely.
it's got the goods in it when the soil's
Absolutely.
right. What you're trying
Absolutely.
to say. Okay.
Everybody can make something green.
Yeah.
Just because it's green does
Yeah.
not mean it's good.
No. No, mine's green.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's green.
that's what I'm saying. That's why so many people plant ryegrass, because it'll grow anywhere and it's green. It
Yeah.
makes people feel happy. Well, a green food plot. Well, that
Yeah.
means nothing.
Yeah.
If you really want to see the difference, I mean, it's, I hunt a lot of lease land here. Me and Brother Kerry, we hunt in the same club, and and I see our plots there, and then I go to my properties that I manage, and deer just flocking them daggum. I mean, they come running out right out in the middle of the food plot and they start eating. It is, and there's a lot of other factors in that, but. I mean, deer coming in food plots at 3 o'clock. I mean, you better get there early.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't no get there, because most of the time they gonna come in at 5 o'clock or right before
Yeah.
dark or whatever. Most of these plots, deer are coming in 3 o'clock, 2:30. Down on our river hunt,
Yeah.
you couldn't beat the deer in the food plots. We went and ate. Finally, I said, I'm finna beat the deer in this food plot. We went and ate lunch. I got there at 1 o'clock and there was a doe already out in the food plot. I beat most of them there, thank goodness.
Yeah.
And we just sat there, and at about 2 o'clock, man, they just started piling in there. So, anyway, it definitely does make a difference. There's a lot of other factors in that. But, and then nutrition, when you get into the whole nutrition realm of things, and, that's a pretty big thing that more people's wanting to do with food plots and nutrition. You can't get the nutrition. They're not going to get the nutrition out of it unless the pH is right.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. That plant is not going to be as healthy.
That's
And that's gonna make a-
get. That's the part that we don't get, that he gets,
Yeah.
that we don't listen to him. Not that we think he's lying, but he studied it. That's what he's learned, and that's also what he's experienced. Where we haven't done it, I'm gonna say if we ever did it, like he tells us
See
to
the
do it,
results.
and now that we can't feed without getting tickets or whatever they're gonna do to us when they catch us, I'm talking about if you did it.
If you did,
Like if you were doing it, stuff,
Stuff like that.
and all that stuff, they catch you now, like,
I like speed.
the old thing that
Do I
I
need
tell
to?
Eli.
Do I need to post edit that out?
No. I'm saying like if they catch you,
Yeah.
If they
and
catch
the
you.
if is on the hunter, not on them.
Yeah.
The if is
Yeah.
on the hunter. It's kind of like what I tell Richard and Eli when I'm up singing and I make the words up. If y'all don't laugh, you don't bust me out. Y'all busted me out when I said that. Like I'm guilty of planting or throwing out some type of illegal feed. Anyway,
Oh,
my
man.
point is now that we can't do it.
That's a better
Yeah.
This is where you come in and people, you can take it however you want to take it. We don't have no choice but to listen to you now. So, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's talking about pH balance and all that, and I'm thinking about corn.
Yeah.
All right, he's talking about pH balance, I'm thinking about 2 bags of corn. But now we can't think that. Now I've already thought, you talking about how they coming into your standing corn.
Right.
I went over to Howard's the other day and took Richard and hunted in standing corn with food plot behind it. Deer just come in there.
Yeah,
So
they come to his, they ain't come to ours.
people that have not took food plot, we've went out there and planted. And by the way, I got a Tecumseh food plot from North Mississippi. That's really nice. You need to come see it. But anyway, it looks really good. Matter of fact, it's the same food plot where we killed that turkey with the missionary son that day, and you could lay your hand and all that. Yeah, it's looking that good again. But I didn't do enough soil sample.
One
And I
thing
need to
about
do
And that's the best soil that you got on any property that you plant. It's the best soil you got naturally.
Ain't
Because
no
it's in
telling
that
what it would
bottom.
do.
Oh no, it definitely needs a push. But I mean, it can really, really look good.
And it may be, Mitch, for the reason deer walk, we say, man, they walk right through the food plot like it ain't even there. And it's green and it's perfect. May not be nothing in it. You know, like he's talking about. No nutrition. Just because it's green.
now when you put the lime out, you're not going to get the benefit of it until the next year.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not,
Depending-
it's not immediately going
Right, and it depends on the lime that you put out as well. Some lime, like your ag lime that we call ag lime, and try not to get all into the chemicals and all of that. But you're right, and it's a better lime because it's going to last longer. But it's about 6 months to activate into the soil. That's why most of your farmers, your soybean farmers, corn farmers, or whatever, right now in February they'll be dumping lime and working all that lime into the soil. They ain't gonna plant it till May, June.
right.
But that's when they're getting it
They
in there.
need it.
So, and then a lot of times they'll put it in right after they take the beans or whatever out. They'll put it in then and work it up and let it sit there because.
So is it a
it's
yearly? Is
No.
some of it yearly?
no.
Will it last several years? Does it?
And what we call the ag lime wheel, I'm just using that terminology because more people will understand that, and that's you get your buggies and stuff like that, and you have to put it out. And the bags that you buy are not the pelletized lime. It is very short lived, but it's quicker acting and things like that. Like there's several companies out there that's got fast acting lime. They call it written right on the bag, fast acting lime. But it won't last as long. It is a year-to-year thing that you have to
Gotcha.
put out. The other stuff will last once you get the pH up, depending again on your surroundings and the chemical composition of the soil. Like if you got a bunch of pines there, or if you don't have a bunch of pines there, will be different. You know,
Pine's
how
good?
long it's going. Pine's bad because
Pine's
again,
bad.
a pine ecology is going to the ecosystem, the micro ecosystem that it makes. It's going to make it have an acidic soil. It's just the way it is, so it can grow. And that's why a lot of different things are that way. However, you get into some places where you have a more basic soil, a more alkaline soil, which an alkaline is in between basic and acid. So it'll be better. So anyway, anywhere between alkaline and neutral is kind of where you want to be. That's where you want. So and most of our soils in North Mississippi they're going to be very acidic. 4.5 to 5 pH is what they're at, and you're wanting to be 6 or 7.
Or I know at one time some of the local co-ops would distribute your lime for you. They got the trucks.
Yep, still do
They'll
that.
fill,
now. Yep.
fill a big hopper up and come out, and they got them big wheels,
Yep,
big tires,
big buggy. Yep.
big old buggies.
Buggy
They come
or
out there and
hopper,
just
yeah.
run around your place and lime
Yep.
it for you. I mean,
Yeah, dump it.
stuff too.
that's a whole
Sure
lot
will.
easier if from a
We get
Do
standpoint.
y'all by chance feel better about yourself after that little spiel he just gave us about the three
Oh,
souls?
yeah.
I
Alkaline. I thought
mean,
that
me
had
and Mark
something to do
been
with a
friends
battery.
forever. I just want everybody that's listening to know this is one of my best friends in the world. And the reason that I am not intelligent because he's got it all. He got all the
No,
intelligence.
not
That's-
intelligent.
But
I'm
that
bringing
is
a lot.
amazing because I wouldn't. The normal hunter don't know.
Well,
You talking about acid land and what's in the middle and all this stuff, and pines is bad, and that's basically what most of us
yeah,
hunt in.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Would never know that. But here's the thing, all right? You said it, I've said it. These counties, this CWD, I'm not getting on CWD, but the counties, why Calhoun ain't in it? You know the deer's coming from Pontotoc to Calhoun County. People's feeding over here, they're taking their deer over here. But what Mark would tell you, because I've heard him say it, you get the right food plots, you get that natural source of food source,
You'll hold deer.
you're gonna hold deer. But I think we determine our food plots because we'll take pictures of, man, that dude is green.
Mhm.
That means nothing. You know, it's got to have the right pH level. It's got to have the right. You got to get the soil right.
Chemistry. The soil
And-
chemistry's got to be right both in pH and NPK. NPK, let me try to explain what that is.
Make
You
me
got
feel
the
good.
13, 13, 13. That's NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, right? And that soil test is going to tell you the levels that soil particular needs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nitrogen, you're not going to have nitrogen on there because you'll need nitrogen every year. It's going to make it grow and make it pop up. And that's so many times all we care about. But that P and K is very important as well. The P part, the phosphorus part of it, very important in the longevity of that food plot and the nutrition of that food plot, how well it sustains the winters and things of that nature. So you got that going into that. So all of these has a place, and that's why the right levels need to be there just as well as the pH is there. Here's the thing too, and I saw a thing and I wish I had it. And we're talking about money, all right? Because I've heard my daddy say this, well, we don't need any lime, we'll just throw some extra fertilizer on it. Throw a couple extra bags. Here's the thing. The average pH of our soil, okay? Average pH of our soil here in North Mississippi, let's just say it's 5. If it's 5, it can only use 30% of the fertilizer that you're putting on there. You put 100 pounds on there, it can only use 30. You've wasted 70 pounds of fertilizer.
Most of our samples came back saying we needed 3 to 3.5 tons per acre.
See what I'm saying? To get
And
it
you can only put out about 1.5 to 2 tons per acre, and that's if you cut the soil up. If you're just putting it on ground that's not cut up, you need to drop that back to 1.5. So I mean, for us, it's going to take several applications.
Sure, absolutely. It takes time, I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it's worth it because we're wasting money in fertilizer most of the time because the pH is not there, because it can't utilize it. It cannot use it, all right? You can't use it.
So we're wasting money in the long run, spending our money on fertilizer.
90% of people are
and
wasting.
getting our soil where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
What is it? Just for the average guy out there.
What's that?
Let's say, all right, you said the average is 5 to get it where it needs to be. Let's say he's got
2 to 3 tons
okay, so
per acre.
and that's going to cost about how much?
I don't know. It depends on the application. He could probably, is that just through a buggy, with a buggy or a,
Yeah, we got Ellis to bring a
Yeah, Ellis
truck that
does.
had like
probably 14,
maybe 9,
10
10 tons
Okay.
on it, and I think it was $600 maybe.
For 9 to 10 tons?
Now, if you had a lot to do, I've heard that you can buy it in bulk and then get somebody
Yeah.
spread it, but just per truckload, it's going to be.
Yeah, it ranges
More
per year and how far they got to come, and all of that factors
Sure.
in what it costs. But you know,
In
I
the
think
long run, though,
in
it's
the
an
long
investment.
run, right? No, absolutely, it's an investment.
And if
Because-
you get it to a point, then you don't have to do that heavy of an application.
No. Like I said,
So-
it's not every year. This is not an every year thing. Once it gets to where it's at, then it's so much easier to maintain
maintain
after
it.
that.
Yeah.
Because you got to hammer it pretty dang hard most of the time up here. Like he's talking about, 3 to 3.5 tons even. I mean, yours was probably in the 4s, if you're talking that. And it also depends on the soil. It's not necessarily what the pH is. It depends on the current chemical composition of soil, and all the lime's doing is manipulating the hydrogen. I'm really finna blow Brother Kerry's mind.
Come on, bro. Come on.
So I'm just gonna stop. So, but so it's different depending on the soil and how much it would be. So it's not necessarily okay. This pH is 5, so you're going to need X amount. So it'll always fluctuate.
Sure.
But if it's 5, you're still going to need a lot. So, but here's the other thing too. There's a lot of other processes out there. Say for a guy that's only got a half acre, or it's got a hunting club and can't get a buggy too, because that's very, that's a major deal. Like a lot of our places at Big Rack and some of the other places, you can't get a buggy in there. So you have to use something else, and there's a lot of stuff out there, technology out there that's very, very good on a short-term basis, which most of the time is what you're looking for. And like for an example, there's a 50-pound bag of lime that you can buy that will cover an acre. It's about $50. That's cheap. That's about as cheap as you can get.
Yeah.
Now
would
gotta
you
plant-
only,
gotta put it
would
out
you
every
only
year.
lime where you're going to plant your food plots, or would you cover the
Yes.
ground around it?
No.
Or would you only hit that part where you're going to
No,
plant?
just put it where you plant the food plots. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And you can pick out what fields you want to do.
Well,
to start
sure.
with.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh,
that's what people
absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got you talk about your big hay field, 11, 12, 13, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just pick out that field and do it this year.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, who knows what what they're going to do with the CWD stuff. And we talk about our state, we're complaining about. We could be like Minnesota, where they're going in and literally wiping the entire herd out. I mean, literally. In places in Wisconsin that their procedure is called the CWD eradication process. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're stupid.
They're
dumb.
beyond management.
I'm just going. If somebody is from Minnesota and you're a game official from Minnesota, I'm just going to shoot you straight up. You bunch of idiots, because that's just dumb. That's the dumbest thing in the world. Knee-jerk reaction. Let's just go kill everything. You know, we complain about our state. Our state agency's doing a dang good job of what they're dealing with compared to others. All right. They're not jumping to conclusions like, look, we need to get these samples. We're going to test them. We're going to monitor them. And go from there. Is it aggravating? Yeah, it's aggravating. We can't pay. Is that aggravating? Do I agree with all that? No, but still, we need to go by. I know these guys that's doing this, and they're putting these programs and things together. They're far ahead of so many other state agencies out there. Far, I mean, leagues ahead. Because what some of these states are doing is absolutely ludicrous. And then now, once the dust settles from their stuff, it's going to be years before they have vulnerable populations again. We ain't nowhere near that. And we complain about it and aggravated about it. But I'm just telling you, our state guys are doing as good a job as anywhere else in the country, and I applaud them for that. And they're doing a good job with getting these samples and things. I talked to a biologist while I was down there on the river. Nicest guys you'd ever want to talk about. We actually was going to do a segment on one of our shows for Bucks Takamani. He couldn't legally, give an interview or anything, but he allowed us to film him, be able to cut the lymph nodes out. We filmed him do that. Actually, one of the bucks that I killed there, he had my tag, and there's my name, and there's the lymph nodes there. There's a test, and we've tested those. I know Brother Kerry sent me a text picture of the test results that he had done on some of the deer. So anyway, we complain about that, but our state is doing way better job than a lot of these other state officials that are out there, for sure.
Looks like Tennessee's headed down the same path too.
Yeah.
Got those 3 counties up there. So
pretty big hot spot up there, so they say.
yeah, that's literally what they're calling it.
Yeah.
There, a hot spot.
Yeah.
Well, what about Mitch thinking he wouldn't have nothing to do with the show and wouldn't know nothing? He's on one lineman.
That's right.
Had no clue we was headed down his field, his
right.
front plot. So we're glad you came. You sounded like you knew what you was talking. I felt good to know you.
Yeah.
One and a
Haven't
half
killed
to
any more
2.
deer, but we got some line right.
But it's gonna take a little while. It's gonna take a little while.
That's got,
boy, it's gonna help.
Yeah.
Man. All right, now wait a minute.
it's got to
What about
help
the
with
spring?
their.
What about the spring? Lime,
Yep.
will it, all right, you know where I'm headed. The turkey, will a food plot hold, and the turkey's different. I know they're different, they're a bird, but will that food plot with more nutrition in it hold turkey?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. I mean, that's something we all, us turkey hunters know. You got them right there in February, and you show up in March, opening day, and you're like, where'd my turkeys go?
Sure.
So
It's got to produce more clover.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Produce more clover, produce more blooms, which produces more insects, which produces more turkeys. And the forage it by itself, turkeys love to eat the forage by itself.
The other thing I would think is it's got to help our antler development.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely does. Helps the health of the plant. If the health of the plant's higher, it has a higher percentage of digestible protein. When it's not healthy, the digestibility of that plant is not as high. So the healthier that is, it's more digestible, so it passes through smoother and cleaner, and the net protein that deer takes out of it you know.
So the guy who's sitting out there who's seeing bucks, but he's not getting big antlered deer. I mean, this is something to consider
definitely
because
Yep.
there could be some genetics involved in that, but this could help.
Absolutely. And plant something this spring. It's a good time to do. Be a great time to get that lime established during the spring with some spring food plots to make your fall food plots even better. And during the spring, having food. I know Ken's planted, they've been planting summer stuff for years, and all the deer that they're attracting with that's one of the major factors from the corn and the beans and all that stuff that they plant. It's a major factor, the deer that they have on their place. And they can tell you that. It's not really rocket science once you see it. Once you do it, you're like, we can plant this.
We got some good, we're getting good pictures and tracks everywhere. We're just not seeing them in the daylight right now. And I guess that's the $1 million question.
Absolutely.
A lot of folks are
At the end of the day, he's a white-tailed deer. And once he gets 4.5, he becomes a whole different species of a white-tailed deer.
Yeah.
Because he's hard to hunt.
and the ones that
Especially in Mississippi.
Nocturnal.
the ones we have pictures of, we know we got 2 or 3 or 4 that we've had for going on 3 years. Some of them
Yeah. Trying to kill them for 3
trying to
years.
kill them for that long.
Yeah.
Still trying to kill them right now.
Yeah.
We can't see them.
Yeah.
So that's the way they get those stacks on top of the head,
That's it.
It just takes one bad move on his part to
But I hadn't
step
really,
out just a
Takes you 10
little
seconds.
early.
One bad move for 10 seconds. That's all he's got to do. Yeah.
And isn't that true with every species of man? But that's another podcast. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling the truth.
It's the
A lot
truth.
of
That
good
is the
men,
truth.
10 seconds, ruin their lives, and a lot of good bucks. Matter of fact, we're sitting in the room, they're looking at us hanging on the wall over 10 seconds. Should have stayed in the woods.
yeah.
Well, one thing lime doesn't really help is our duck hunting.
No, can't help you there.
Well, I guess it kind of does. If you planting corn and beans you're gonna leave some standing crops that you're gonna flood an area.
Yeah, could.
It could help from there.
That's the only thing with anything migratory. You can set the best table in town, and however the weather, you ain't got 'em.
That's right. That's
When
what
he
we're
don't-
dealing
when
with
he
right
don't-
now
when
with
he
our
don't-
duck hunting.
When he don't live right there all his life, it's very, very difficult to manage him. And duck hunting is one of the most, as far as management, it's a difficult thing because you're hunting them in the south. There's a lot of it. You're hunting them in between, but
Yeah.
all their nesting and habitats up north from Canada and the Dakotas.
Yeah.
So, it's a very difficult thing. Just for the landowner.
Yeah, we're totally dependent on the weather.
Sure. No, absolutely.
That's why we're not seeing
Yep.
ducks right now. That's why the numbers are unbelievably down.
Yep. With ducks, we're talking investment into the hunting and to get the return. With turkeys and deer, on any given property, I can better that table and better the odds on the hunter killing turkeys and killing better deer. With ducks, I can't do that because there's too many variables in play.
Yeah.
And that's the only downfall with ducks. And
Yeah.
with good years, again, you can have the best table set, the best game in town, the best hunting strategy, all of that. And if they're not here to hunt, there ain't nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's just the only downfall with ducks.
Yeah.
So on a management side of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, yep,
Got some duck hunters at the table.
sure.
Mitch, how y'all done this year? You've had better success than many. I'll
We've
say
killed a
that.
few, but it's been a below average year, I'd say.
Yeah.
We've killed ducks, but we don't have many ducks.
Yeah. And y'all hunted over at Howard's and had a little success over there too, ain't you?
Yeah, we've killed a few ducks
Yeah.
over there. We went this morning, killed a few. So we're seeing, like I said, though, we're killing some ducks, but we're not seeing a whole lot. So
Yeah.
it's not like
I talked with one of the guys this morning that's been down at our camp the last 2 days. And they killed one gadwall and one teal
Oh, wow.
in 2 days of hunting. I mean, it's just, they killed some specks and we've had geese, but I mean, that's just last year we were just banging them, man. I mean, it was.
Yep. No.
Of course, this time last year we were having to go out and bust ice, and that makes a big difference.
Sure.
I mean,
'Cause you know
if it's
north
that
it is
cold
that
here,
yeah.
you know how cold it is up north. If we're locked up here,
Yeah.
if we're locked up with 4 inches of ice here, northern Missouri's probably got 8 to 10 inches, and they're not going out there and busting ice like we are.
No.
So,
Yep. I noticed that on the river this year, deer hunting. I know last year, this time hunting the same week, and there was very few ducks flying through. And you saw very few ducks in the flooded timber and the flooded places last year. Oh my gosh! I mean, you'd go before daylight, and there was just ducks going everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
it was night and day. There was a lot of guys that actually did deer hunt in the mornings. They actually duck hunted. It was all deer hunting, this time because there were no ducks.
yeah.
Or not enough to try
Right.
to go. I mean,
Right.
and that's literally right on the river. Some of the better places to duck.
And we've had record rainfall this year.
Yeah, so
So
Just
that
kind of
makes
spread
it
out.
even makes
The ones
it
that
even
are here-
more difficult.
Yep,
Yeah, they
the ones
have
that are here spread out.
more areas. And they say they're actually drawn to areas that they normally wouldn't feed at because there's not water there, because that's fresh, fresh food source for them.
Sure.
So they're hitting areas that they normally wouldn't be able to. That's normally not flooded.
yep. Yep.
By the way, your picture of you in the boat bringing the deer out,
That was pretty
it's going
impressive.
on my next video.
Where was that at?
This is river,
I
seen
Mississippi
forgot.
River.
I forgot. I saw it, but
Mississippi
while they're
River, just
talking
out of
about-
Vicksburg. Yep.
Ducks, I'll show it to you.
It's one of my funnest hunts of the year, and to me, it's hard to put a deer hunt and to use the word epic in deer hunting. I think of a lot of other places that involve like hunting Dall sheep or something in the mountains, pretty epic, or elk hunting or something like that. But this was a really, really cool hunt. Like I said, when the Mississippi River rises, it floods out so much of the
Yeah.
low ground, and it exposes a lot of ridges and things. And these ridges may run a mile or 2 or 10 for that matter, but they're pretty narrow. And those deer will stick on that ground until they absolutely have to leave. It's amazing. And so this particular property here, I hunted there last year, and you drive the Ranger right up to anywhere you wanted to go. This year, it's kind of like you said with ducks. There's more water, so it spreads them out and makes it hard. With deer, it's the exact opposite. There's more water and less land, so it really
they kind of pile in there together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there was just one particular long ridge, and I wanted to get there ever since I got there, and hunted, saw several deer, saw some nice deer, and tried to get across in a couple places, and you just couldn't get there. Had to have a boat, and so I went and found this old John boat. I mean, it had 6 inches of mud in it. So I had to clean it out. Had stuff growing in it, and I had to clean it out. Pushed it over to this little pond and see if it would float before we got in it an hour before daylight with $100,000 of camera equipment. And so got there that morning, boated across, and I thought it was only a couple hundred yards across. Ended up being over a quarter mile that I had to boat. It's breaking day. We get there, and long story short, get into some deer hunting on the ground, which is really cool to hunt on the ground.
Yeah.
With deer anyway, and we don't do that a lot anymore. We always hunt in stands, and in those beautiful, iconic Mississippi River bottom hardwoods, they ended up being several bucks chasing a doe, and it was cat and mouse there for a while, because when you're filming, you would have a shot. When you're hunting hunting woods, the cameraman wouldn't have a shot, and it was a pretty long shot too through the woods. But anyway, was able to finally get him, and it was a really big, old, iconic Mississippi River bottom 8-point, real heavy, big deer. And I had to do something I hadn't done had to do in a long time, and that's literally drag a deer out of the woods. We're so used to driving the Ranger up or
Right
the
up to
four-wheeler
it.
up or whatever buggy of some kind up
Yeah.
to it pretty close. But when you boat into a piece of property, it's just you and the deer from then on out. But it was really cool. So it was just neat that a game plan actually worked. The deer were there like we thought they were. And just a fun hunt. Had to drag the deer about 400 yards to the boat. That was not fun. But anyway, and that's something I've never done, to load a deer up on a boat and then paddle that sucker back to camp. Yeah, it was pretty epic.
Yeah, that's pretty
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
He was a bruiser.
So it was a nice buck.
He
Really
scored,
nice buck.
green scoring.
So he probably scored somewhere right at 140 as an 8, which is a great 8. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So long beams, 24, 25-inch beams, real heavy, 5+ bases. So just a really cool old deer and make for a great show. So I think that when I actually shot him, the kill shot wasn't quite as clear as we would like, but it was clear enough. So
Yeah.
Take
so it was fun. Was able to drop him again. It was 200+ yards through the woods, and I was just almost surprised that it happened when I shot him. Usually I get pretty excited. I still got pretty excited, and just to see him fall, and I was like, all this worked. I actually hit him, and all of that at one time sunk in. So it was really cool. So anyway, fun hunt, no doubt.
We were, I was driving down today and I got the text Kerry sent us. I think we were all kind of in a group text. And Kerry, you got some pictures of some nice bucks on your place recent.
Yes. We got
several
good deer.
We're at the point, I guess, in the season now we're probably, I don't know, you guys talk about the rut still kind of being on here in Pontotoc County, maybe. I don't know. We're post rut at our place. There is, it's over. But
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I seen it in Clay County, and I seen one other day in Lafayette County.
There you go.
I had Richard and Doe come across, and he was right on her. But on any other properties, I ain't seen it at all.
killed that first little 8 point. It was on a couple of does, but he wasn't running. Just was kind of behind them, and had a 6 point cross the other day, or a doe across a 6 point right at dark, right behind it. So that's the only evidence I've seen, other than the other deer I killed.
Yeah.
It came out with 2 bucks came after the one doe was crossing.
A lot of guys give up
That's
this time of the year, but
No.
I think it's time to be out there. You know, you're going to draw them out in the open, especially if you do have food plots, because the acorns are gone at this point.
This is to me, this is the best time to kill a big deer in Mississippi. It's my favorite time. It's always been the most consistent time to either see, guide, or kill myself a big mature deer, in Mississippi. To a couple different things. One, they're going to get hungry, and 2, any does that are still in heat, they're going to be more hard up towards the end of the rut than they ever will be towards the beginning of the rut to get those last does bred.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. And
yeah.
And also
got to stay with it.
Sure. Also the days are getting longer. So how many times have you seen, but they get used to coming in at, 5:45, 6:30. Hey, towards the end of December, hey, them days is getting longer. Sometimes that daytime's going to catch up with them right there at last light, so
That's
you
right.
can get a shot at it. So
Come out a little early to feed.
In Pontotoc County, the biggest deer that I've killed in Pontotoc County, the majority of them, 80% of them, have been from January 15th to the end.
That's exactly what both you guys said.
That's us.
I mean, that's why. So there's just way more factors that stack up in your favor than it stacks up in the deer favor.
Yeah.
All of that stuff lines up during that particular time. We could hunt the first 2 weeks of February, boy, it'd show nothing good. But anyhow, that's why. I mean, that's just some of the reasons why.
Yeah.
Are you saying that we're not supposed to hunt the first 2 weeks of February? I'm just getting that.
Not in North Mississippi.
Oh,
You can
wait,
do that
wait,
in
wait.
South Mississippi.
Wait, I went to Alabama. That was my bad. My
In
bad.
Alabama, you
yeah,
can do
yeah, my bad. I knew I hunted to February 10th last year. I just couldn't remember where it was.
we're getting to hunt in Tennessee a little bit, and their season has already closed normally by this point in time. Their
Another
season
month.
opens up early, but because of the CWD, at least for Hardeman, McNary, and I don't know the other county, they've extended it for a whole nother month. So property up there we've been hunting across the state line, we're still seeing bucks chase this past week, and normally their season would have been over at this
Sure,
point.
absolutely.
So, and it might be off calendar a little bit from year to year too. It could be.
Well, anything in the South it's just all screwed up. It's just, and that's a whole nother biologically reason why that goes from Mississippi and Alabama is about as it's just wide open. I mean, it could start the 1st of December, and they're breeding deer literally through February,
Yeah.
maybe even the 1st of March. Looking at fetus sizes is from on some health check deer stuff that it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's really crazy.
Yeah.
So
I never have understood. That map they put out that shows where the rut zones are. How do they come up with that? Have you the map I'm familiar with, and it shows the bands going through the state, and it'll tell you. I mean, you can find this on MDWFP, and it'll show you, the different weeks that they predict that the rut will be.
yeah, and it's just
I
from
don't know. I just wondered
it's from
where
historical data from most of the time historical data from I'm not sure which map you're talking about, but I've seen some of them from the research standpoint. It's historical data from health checks across the nation, and all they're doing, you just take a fetus, you can measure it, and then whatever size of that fetus is, you can go back to the day it was bred. So or within a couple days anyway of when it's bred. So
And a lot of those maps that we see today
There you
are
go.
based on
You can go to the Mississippi
what happened.
MDWFP website, and it's a map that they post every year, and
But it is historical.
Yeah.
That's probably. I mean, how you gonna predict it? I mean, so they're probably looking at. They're probably taking a sample of
Yeah.
the population of 10 years and saying, well, the rut kicked in on the average at the 15th of December.
Yeah.
sure.
But look at if you
Well,
look at Tippah County right there. You see all the bands that run through Tippah County.
Same thing with Pontotoc.
That's
1,
why
2, 3, 4,
I have
5
never.
bands.
We have never ever been able to really define.
You can't. It's not
A week.
definable. It's not definable.
Because if you look
It's
at
not
Tippah
definable.
County, the difference in 20 miles is 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no,
Pretty
abs-
much.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. I just,
Yeah. Well,
just for talking, I mean, I've just always thought it was interesting.
and it's just hard to go by. And I'm sitting here looking at Pontotoc right now since we're in Pontotoc County, and around the week before Christmas is usually when you'll start seeing chasing, and so and that they do have a band, one of the band that's in that. But the thing is, it's just, I think it's almost impossible even to map
Yeah.
the way things are. I mean, just what I've seen. But I mean, that's pretty. I mean, it just shows you how you look at Kansas. There's about 2 lines on there. You look at anywhere. I mean, because they're like, hey,
Cut and dry.
85% are bred this day, this day, this day. Every year. I don't care when the moon is. I don't care what the weather's like. Don't matter. Boom, boom, boom. That's when it is. Iowa, Illinois, same way. Mississippi, who knows?
Yeah.
Roll the dice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, again, sometime early December all the way through the end of the season.
Yep.
So,
I would like to say, Illinois wise, that I was involved in a revival out there the first week of December this year, and they were chasing the heads off,
sure.
and I got asked to come back next year.
That's what I'm talking
With the
about.
buddy.
Well, I get to take Richard and Eli. I mean, I don't hunt no way. I'm gonna run the camera, but I filmed some good deer. But now,
Yeah.
like you said, they said the same thing to me. They're like, "This is a great time for you to come." And so why is that? Oh, the rut's every year. This week every year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like they're rutting. You've been hunting, no, we ain't been hunting, but they're rutting. You go out there and it's like a freeway. It's almost ducking.
Oh, sure.
Deer running everywhere.
It's not like Mississippi, it's a different
No.
world, man.
Yeah.
No, and you go to the Mississippi River, it's a little bit more confounded. I mean, because it's just different. It's more Midwest type situations that's there. I can't explain all of those. I have some ideas there and some biological things that goes into that, but it's not quite Midwest, but it's pretty dang close. Anyway, so there are places in Mississippi that's not quite as crazy, and the river has a lot to do with that as well
Delta
to dictate
areas.
that. Yeah, the Delta same. I mean, a lot of those deer are very, but again, the past flooding and all of that will dictate a lot of that as well, as far as fawn drop and all of that, the way it needs to be. Same way the Midwest dictates that with the winters and things of that nature.
Yeah.
If they're going to survive, they've got to. It is not to say that every now and then you're going to have some late deer in the Midwest, but most of those deer don't live in
That's
Mississippi. You just got because we don't have a forceful enough climate in order to get it that way.
Right.
So a lot of that has to do with. There's other factors too. So a lot of factors that's involved there with that. But anyway. Yeah.
January the 27th last Saturday before the season ended, Jeff Harmon's boy Jack missed that 6 point that he's already missed 2 more times. He was chasing 8 does wide open.
Sure.
When they come out, of course this is last Saturday of the year. I done told him, I said, we shoot. He ain't killed nothing all year. I said, we shoot. 8 does come out. I mean, how hard is this gonna be? The problem was the underneath of their bellies was almost they were flying.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked, I said, get up, here comes some deer. He got up, gonna get in the window of the shooting house, they're gone. Next thing you know, I turned, looked, and I said, don't move. And he had stepped out, he was right on him, but when he stepped out in that food plot, he looked around. He shot, missed him, and went back around, got in the woods, he shot, missed him. That was January the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like he just hanging out with them. He was chasing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably one doe in that doe group that was in heat, and yeah,
He's after.
that's right.
And
Well,
people go
guys.
get in the woods.
Yeah.
It's a little dark.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't never stopped you, has it, Brother Kerry?
Well, I had to go get Eli out.
That's always the excuse.
He's always hog hunting. I don't know what he's doing. Okay,
Well,
before
guys, it's
we
been
end
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next Thursday,
Next Thursday.
right here, the
Again.
Tennessee crowd that Ray Cobb, Chad Clanton,
Yeah.
they
They'll
will be
be here.
here. And
Okay.
guess what's on the menu? Aged ribeyes.
Wow.
If you like ribeyes, Mitch, you and Mark, y'all are welcome.
I'll just come eat a ribeye.
Oh, yeah.
We got
God,
and we'll have
just
them.
move
Hey, we'll
on
have
to
them.
all
Hey,
that.
listen, let them update us.
Oh, yeah.
They're living right there in that,
Yeah.
right across the line, Lawrenceburg. So,
Yeah.
they'll be close.
Yep.
So we'll let them update us on the Tennessee stuff. They've been aging a loin for about 3 months.
Awesome.
It's gonna be on. I've ate their aged ribeye loins. Pretty much on the way I let them come, bring food.
That's what I'm talking about.
So, but we're gonna have quail and pheasant one night and ribeyes the next night. So y'all might want to just come hang out with me.
Spend the
next
night.
week.
You got plenty of beds around here.
Yeah, got plenty of couches.
Awesome.
Thank you
Sounds
guys
good.
for listening.
Thanks.
We appreciate y'all.
Yep.
Yep.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. It's your time now. Be a legend.